What's cracking, everybody? My name is smart guy Matt Sapaula here, hailing to you from the PHP studios here in Addison, Texas, a direct suburb of Dallas. And on our show today, we have a fantastic show. My co-host today being Marlene Gaytan, fellow first-generation cash flow millionaire, where we'll be discussing how to recreate yourself. A Veterans Day message, Marine Corps birthday today being as of November 10th. And Marlene, who do we have on our show today?
Today we have a young stuff that's coming up here in the company. His name is David Sica. Him and his wife are just killing it.
Yes, six-figure earners here in this episode 27 of the PHP Podcast. Starting in 3, 2, 1, let's go. All right, well, let's get right into it. So, Marlene, welcome back as my co-host of the PHP Podcast. How you doing?
I'm excited to be back, and happy Veterans Day to you and to all the veterans out there.
That's right. And today I'm wearing my Marine Corps shirt. I think it's the only Marine Corps shirt. I feel like a boot camper, but anyway, happy birthday, Marines. Semper Fi, always stay faithful and true to your values and principles. And today is the only branch of service that was born in a bar. Ton Tavern, Philadelphia. The Marine Corps was born in 1775. My Marine Corps came alive. Anyway, Marlene, sorry, excuse me for that. You know, Marines, we just kind of go crazy about a Marine Corps birthday. Anyway, so Marlene, who do we have on the show today, Marlene? We have David Sica.
Yes, today we have David Sica, and he's got such an inspiring story. We always say that we attract so many immigrants here in PHP. We truly believe in the American dream, and we have so many examples. So this is a young Argentinian that has a story of coming here, immigrating from Argentina, overcoming so much with his mom, and just came to chase the American dream. And I'm very proud of his growth. Him and his wife are just making a name for themselves. They're one of the fastest growing couples we have here in the company. So we're excited to have you with us, David.
David, welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. Pleasure. It's an honor. I appreciate you guys for everything.
Bro, tell us about your background, man. Tell us about your story, Argentina, financial services, what we're doing previously. Give us the 411 of David Sica. By the way, David, I just want to let you know, there's not very many non-VPs of PHP Agency as part of the PHP Podcast. So you seem to stick out to our production team. So congratulations. Welcome to the production. Because, you know, here at PHP, I think it's based on capitalism and what you're doing on the Leaders Bulletin. So very proud of you for being part of the podcast.
I appreciate it, guys. No, honestly, it's an honor. It's funny. We had a meeting with Pat at Next World Council Retreat, and you know it's interesting. The one thing that I put there, short-term goals, is actually PHP Podcast.
Yeah, really? Okay.
And I'm like, man,
congratulations! A goal was made today.
Checked off. And a few other things that already happened. I'm like, man, you got to be careful what you put on those vision boards, man. They happen like this. But like I said, it's an honor to be able to have this opportunity. And like I said, all the reasons that my wife and I are performing at the level that we do is because you guys have been setting the example, and obviously that we have the opportunity to Pat and Tigre and everybody else that puts everything together. But as far as my story goes, yeah, like Marlene said, originally from Argentina. I know many people don't know many people from Argentina. Okay, we come in peace. We don't bite. Okay, but yeah, my mom told me one accident was enough. It's the only child there. And then I love that woman. She showed me what a woman was capable of doing by herself. Argentina's got gorgeous places, but it's also got not so gorgeous places, right? I'm sure it's just like the Philippines and everywhere else.
For sure, and, yeah. Of course, everybody knows Buenos Aires, right?
Exactly. But yeah, no, we're in the street for a little while. We grab everything with very little. You go to the grocery store where we lived, and then you don't know if you're gonna come back. So it's a whole adventure. And like I said, I love that she never gave up. But basically, we kept fighting. Came to the country when I was 12, 13 years old, and moved here to Orange County. Within the 6 months, I thought everything was gonna be good. A few turn of events happened. We were borderline homeless, living on food stamps for a little while. And then, but like I said, we just kept fighting. And but one thing that I realized is that what we were doing, even both of my mother were working multiple jobs, but it wasn't enough to get ahead. It was enough to get by. And it's interesting because at one point you got to say, if you want something different, you're gonna have to do something different. And it's very interesting because everybody during New Year's should say the exact same thing. New Year's, new me, woo!
Yeah.
And nobody wants to do anything new. Isn't it funny?
Always the case. By the way, Marlene, how many times have you seen in your career people so jacked up and say, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to change my life. Certain circumstances in my life, I need to change. I need to change. And next thing you know, a month later, 2 months later, a year later, 5 years later, nothing's changed. Have you ever witnessed that, Marlene?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's insane. That's why they say it's only a fraction of people that you do New Year's resolutions. It will even keep them past the first month or the first even 30 days. You go to the gym, the beginning it's full, and then towards the end of the first month, it's empty. Most people can't stay, for that delayed gratification. So, they don't stick to it.
Yeah, they don't want to pay the price and fight through the soreness and the growing pains of it all. So guys, later on in the show, I want you to make sure you stick around because Marlene's going to share with you some of the tips on how to recreate yourself. We got some tips and thoughts too as well. We get some feedback here from David Sica. So David, back to you. What was your career background before you came to PHP Agency?
So career background, did the school route. You obviously, you hear about the magical way of success. Go to school, get good grades, get a good job, and I drank the Kool-Aid, and basically, I got a few scholarships to go study psychology and child development over at UCLA, and I wanted to be a child psychologist initially, so that was the original route. But then the idea of me going to school for 4 years to get into debt, for another 4 years to get my PhD, into more debt, 2 more years to get my residency. That's literally 10 years. That's a decade of your life. And at the end of it, you graduate with nothing guaranteed and you have 6 figures of debt on the back. I didn't understand how that became the American dream. I didn't understand, why is it that we sacrifice so much to basically take so many steps back for us to start running? And it kept bothering me, but that's when I realized, if I wanted to basically have real freedom, it's going to be, through business. I'm pretty sure majority of people would agree that nobody likes being told, what to do, how many hours they can work, which hours they can work, how much they can pay per hour. And the reality is, if somebody's getting paid as much as you, even if they're not doing half the work, if the laziest person there gets paid the same as the hardest working person there, it kind of kills your soul inside. And it's very interesting because I think in life, we always have choices. You have a voice in your heart that basically pounding out of your chest saying, hey, you deserve more, you're worth more. But the reality is we have 2 choices. If you listen to it, it takes courage to actually go through it, because now you have to make a change in your life. I think people are very afraid of making that change. So they stay in the same career path just because what their parents told them, just because they're trying to please somebody else. And I never wanted to be that. Like I said, you only have one life here, and I wanted to do right. So instead of pursuing my PhD from Pepperdine University, I decided to become a business owner, or at least be on the journey to become a business owner. Looked into real estate. I was getting my real estate license, and then bumped into a gentleman walking by the beach here in Santa Monica, California. He was dressed very sharp, walking his dog. We talked for an hour, and he says, David, I love your personality. I love your story. I think you're gonna be great in sales. And I looked at him and I said, Eddie, heck no.
Okay. Why heck no? What was your understanding about sales before? Because as you know, one of our 4 ways to recreate yourself and how to make money for the rest of your life every year upon year after year is, number one is you got to learn sales. What was your mindset or current understanding about sales?
I adopted everybody else's mindset. Basically, the mindset that basically in sales, somebody basically is just trying to basically sell you something, and I don't want to basically, somebody's trying to push onto somebody, is uncomfortable and all those things. It's a negative connotation that sales had that I adapted from everybody around me. Ironically enough, everybody around me was broke. So one thing that I had to learn from early on is that I never wanted to accept the opinions of those whose life I didn't want to have. And then from there on, I said, I realized once I actually started, I felt, here's honestly one of the things that changed my entire life, and it's been a recipe for success. I fell in love with basically failing quick. I fell in love with failing quick.
Gotcha. That's odd. What was your, what had you come across that conclusion that you should fall in love with something that most people are afraid of?
Because once you understand the relationship you have with fear, then you realize that it's a facade. It's all literally the one thing that holds us back from basically becoming anything great in this world, anything, is literally fear. We disguise it as other things, but the reality is that if you face the fear and you get across of it, you realize, wow, that was not bad at all. And then I think a lot of the times we ask God for our blessings, but we're not willing to go through the door that's encountering. So like, God, I need you to basically, bring this in my life. But, oh, wait a minute. It makes me uncomfortable, right? And everybody wants basically the gift wrapped up in the doorstep without any taking risk. If you don't take risk in life, there's no room for faith. And I realized basically, I remember the first time I went door knocking at age 21. You got to understand, Matt.
What were you selling?
I was selling solar panels. And you got to understand, this kid in high school was a kid who had braces, long hair, acne, and shark teeth. Okay. And
but not much has changed.
You tell me. I let go of the braces. No, but it's incredible to see basically somebody who, was basically has such low self-esteem. But the reality is, if you fall in love with failing, like I said, the quicker you do it, the better. I got a 2-week notice, first 2 weeks, because I skipped a lot of people basically to get into this position, and I was getting paid, some base plus commission, but I wasn't doing anything. I got an hour training, and then my manager at the time, he left. He went to travel, somewhere else, and I got a 2-week notice. And then if there's one thing that motivates, is the point to prove. But I got this letter. I'm like, who in the world? So I got a letter from the president of the company. So immediately I went door knocking, but I remember the first time I went door knocking, I was sweating, shaking, but I realized if I basically just got rid of that fear, then it's just going to be better. By the second month, I became the #1 consultant in the entire company. There were people that were twice my age, had triple experience, actually maybe triple. They had like 10 plus years of experience. And at that point, I basically, within the first 6 months of that company, I brought the company $1.6 million of revenue.
How much did they pay you?
Was that?
How much did they pay you?
So it all depends on basically the deals that I actually generated. At one point, I said, I don't want the base. I realized base and salary, I think that's all a fraud for me, at least. Because the reality is just that whenever basically people are accepting that and people ask, oh, their basic commission versus anything like that, the reality is that, again, it's just fear. That means you're not confident in yourself for you to be able to actually go after and achieve something. I realized that I saw a $60,000 deal, and when I should have gotten paid about $3,000, I would get paid about $250. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let go of this base, and and I was making about 10 grand a month at age 21. So it did a lot for my identity, but it also made me realize that there was no real freedom. If you're still trading time for money, that's still, you're just an independent contractor. The reality is, if you get sick, that's it. Where are you going to get your money? And I was in my own Santa Monica ain't cheap, right? And I decided to actually, look at different ways. I didn't like the politics that corporate America was bringing there. The fact that the only way you move up in corporate America is through, if you're going to be judged by your age, color, sex, gender, or how much you suck up to somebody. Never been a suck up my entire life. So I ended up leaving, got recruited by another company. Long story short, I ran another solar company under somebody else's management. But for about 3-4 years, everything was great, but I was getting to one of the most dangerous points in my life, which was the place of comfort. And when you know your self-worth, you realize that comfort is the biggest enemy for your growth. If you're not being challenged, how could you possibly grow into the full version that God created you to be? That was at the point where I actually, like I said, I gave my life to Christ about 5 years ago. And I said, God, I need to close doors, open new ones, because once you open, nobody can shut. And I was fasting. Within a week of me fasting, I get a call from an old pastor friend of mine who's doing real estate and finances in Pasadena, California. You probably know him, Tim Sigby. So he gave me a call, introduced me to basically a gentleman named David Gomez, and no idea why God brought this industry. And but I wrestled in the beginning, but I realized just because it's not wrapped the way I wanted, it doesn't mean it's not for me. You got to understand that the blessing a lot of the times comes after the obedience. And I find that many times in this planet, we take so long to actually, live our life according to God, what God designed us to. We live our life according to God's purpose. I used to have a different relationship with God. I used to basically be a transactional relationship. God, if you do this, I do this. God, if you do this, I do this.
ATM.
Right, ATM God. And one moment, different rock bottoms in my life, but I decided if I wanted things to look up, I got to look up. I never knew what a relationship with God was, and I started building that. But I realized basically in pursuit of that, if you put God as the GPS of your life, you're gonna get there much quicker. But I realized that if God created me, I want to live according to his purpose, not have God use me for my purposes. Once I made that switch, everything changed within the business, but everything in my life. So I just started to saying, hey, David, stop being in control, just be a little more obedient. And it's been an amazing journey.
Hey, David, I have a question. How does it feel to know that this is your own business where you're able to talk about God? Because in corporate America, you would get sued. You're not allowed to, and so many different corporations. But here, how important is this is faith a part of your business? How do you incorporate it? And how does it feel to know that you have the freedom to have the option? Because there's so many people watching that, it might be surprising to them because in most jobs, you're not allowed to express yourself, right? So please share with us a little bit about that.
Generally, it's everything. It's everything. Because here's the thing, when you look at the regular, industry, you're only allowed to build a company brand. Patrick has built such an amazing platform that not only able to actually build a company brand, which is an amazing brand, but it makes you feel like you're part of something, you're going to be building history. But part of it is you're able to build your own identity, and being able to actually build your own business off the ground, like I said, is everything. Is everything. Like Patrick, the things that Patrick has done with this platform, like I said, I am genuinely blessed and overwhelmed in gratitude. But as far as basically being able to speak that, I think nobody likes to be able to be shut down and be able to be, that's your identity. That's the fire that you have in you. That's your flame within inside of you. And the fact that I could actually build this platform to do that, and not pushing it onto anybody, but just being the example. That's
yes.
the key.
Hey, David, so sell us the dream a little bit. You have one of the PHP love stories that we have here, right? You and I have something in common. I met my husband here in PHP. You met your wife here in PHP. For all the single people watching that are thinking, hey, you know what? Maybe there's this connection, there's synergy in PHP. Please share with us how you found your wife here in the business.
Woo!
My wife is probably one of the reasons why I believe in God so much. But I'll tell you this, while and again, is God was working on me finding Alyssa, finding each other like way before it happened. And it was at a point in my life where I said, God, I really want to give you all of me. I don't, because here's the thing, you're said to follow Christ and follow God. And I think majority of us, we give them 80%. Well, God, I'm only going to give you 80% of my life. Oh, wait. Okay. But I don't want to make this change. Right. And then, and I said, you know what, there were things in my life that I needed to change. I wanted to actually live my life according to God. And I was with a different relationship. When I met Alyssa for the first time, it was at a big event. It was Kevin Hart. It was the President's Club meeting. And then she came up to me and said, how you doing? And no, I'm kidding. No, that was not the case, even though we had different versions of it. No, but, I approached her, we say hi, but, she was in a different relationship at the time. I was in a different relationship. And then she was in a 5-year long relationship. I was in a 4-year long relationship. But it's amazing when you start growing that sometimes basically if people are not growing, at the same speed, it's really difficult, for the alignment to be there. I asked God millions of times, and basically my ex basically ended up, doing other things, with other people. And then it gave me the breakthrough that I needed. But it was for a year when I started basically saying, the next person I want to be with is going to be the woman that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. And then basically like I said, when I got to see Alyssa, I asked God, it's crazy. I asked God because I don't want to lose. I'm so obsessed about my purpose here and the life that I want to build and the platform that I want to build for my kids that I don't want that distraction for me. And as a single guy, you're always going to have a lot of distractions. But I basically asked God one day, it was midnight. It was coming back home from the office, from Montebello all the way to Santa Monica. It's an hour drive. And I'm asking God, and I'm like, God, I need you to do me a favor, God. I need you to just be crystal clear. I don't need any gray. I need to be black and white, okay? I was like, is this the girl? Because I know I got game, okay? So if I'm going to go after, I'm going to.
By the way, fellas, that's what having a career in sales will do for you. It'll give you a lot of confidence.
So much. Yeah, no, honestly, when That's what Sheena said about Matt. No, he's got game, man. I remember like Sheena saying that the joke that he said, oh, he's got game. But I said, if I'm gonna go after somebody, I want to make sure this is the right person. And I learned to actually, have God as my first counsel for a little while now, which has actually worked out great. But I said, I need to be very, very clear. And I'm driving home. I'm not tired. It's midnight. I'm on the 10 freeway. And I remember basically just asking God, just be crystal clear. And it was the weirdest thing. I fell asleep for about 2 to 3 seconds, which is dangerous, but I fell asleep. I didn't have my phone in my hand. All of a sudden I wake up with my phone in my hand, my right hand, and I don't even have Instagram on. It happens to be open up on Instagram. And the very first picture you see on the news feed is Alyssa with a cross on it. And I understand Alyssa's not even a believer at this moment, right? So I was like, I got the chills. I'm like, wow. Okay. I'm like, thank you, sir. And that moment, basically, I just, I messaged Alyssa and I said, she had added me a while back, but I said, hey, we were non-MDs at that moment. We're non-brokers. And I said, hey, if I basically beat you to the broker position, I said, buy a big event, you buy me a drink. And if I beat you, if I beat you, you buy me a drink. If you beat me, I buy you a drink. Either way, I'm gonna get to know her, because you see the close.
Both outcomes, you're still together.
Exactly. So I wanted to get to know her because, like I said, she's the most beautiful woman that I ever met. But the reality is, I want to make sure I want to get to actually know her. And it just so happens she's also the most intelligent woman that I ever met as well. When I'm telling you, I got the whole package, man. I got the lottery times million. And at that point, basically, like I said, we met at a trip in Cancun. That's we qualified for everything. And I believe there's a video basically on. It was my first company trip. We won the March Madness contest basically in Cornerstone, and then we actually got to see there. And then basically that's we got to know each other. I'm like, all right, this is the woman that I'm gonna marry. We dated after that. We dated for about 4 months. We did it for 4 months. Got engaged. Within a week later, we got married.
Yeah, you closed. You go
That's
quick.
it.
You had good credit. Cleared close right away.
It was a fast start. I got the sprint award. But
and you got your director's promotion and your MD promotion. All in there.
I became AIM.
There you go. There you go.
Honestly, it's been amazing. Like I said, we experienced a lot of things in the beginning. Marlene always says the couples that fight the most make the most, and I'm like, why we're not millionaires yet? That's what Alisa always said. But the reality.
Speaking about cash flow, can you tell us your age and what you've made the last 60 days so that young people can see what you're capable of making here in PHP?
I'm 28 years old. I should turn 28 a few months ago. Alyssa's 25 years old. In the month of September, we were $98 short from $70,000 for the month of
1 month. So $70,000 in 1 month.
Yes, ma'am.
That's insane.
I don't believe it until I see the app. You got to show it in the app. You got to show it in the app, bro. I mean, we don't believe things until.
I mean, Matt, isn't that mind-boggling? Like, where can you go at 25 years old, 28 years old?
September. Look at that. I love it. He's got it screenshotted. You didn't even have to pull that up on the numbers. You got it screenshotted. We're not the first people he showed that screenshot to.
No, that was the actual app. That's the app.
Quick.
But it's insane, guys. I'm telling you, I knew, like, one of the things that I love about PHP that at every level you win is so emotional because you've seen what you had to go through in order to get there. But you hear about Marlene and actually all of you guys' stories. You start basically from scratch, but I think people are so obsessed about the goals that they forget about the growth. John Maxwell says if you stop focusing on the goals and you focus on the growth, that's really when you're actually going to be building that identity of yours that you need in order to receive that. I feel like a lot of times.
Let me ask you this question. What because you came from solar into insurance. What's some of the misconceptions or the prejudgments you had about PHP or the life insurance industry that you found were all just myths as soon as you started educating yourself and started studying PHP and what this industry had to provide?
It's interesting. I had a friend of mine who basically told me, hey, I have a friend that's looking, to hire a few people. It was a $60K base. I forget what even the insurance company was, but he told me, I'm like, life insurance? I'm like, no, thanks. That was like 2 years before approaching PHP. And so bottom line is, how do I answer this question? It's just one, like complete, like had no idea what we could actually do. Like I generally didn't know what life insurance was. Like you think, somebody dies, somebody passes away. That's huge already, but it's not the only thing. People tend to overlook that you could actually use life insurance for the sake of basically using, living benefits. Like I said, there's so many people that basically go through different stuff, and to be able to use that money while you're alive is everything. But on top of that, the fact that you could actually use life insurance as a vehicle to grow your money, protect it from loss, and have tax-free access to it, that's something not in a million years I would actually thought of. It's something that I had to actually dive in to understand it. But also I had to basically stop listening to my peers, because the reality is, if all my peers are broke, then why am I caring so much about what they think? And it's interesting. That's one of the things that when I got into the company, I said, you know what? I genuinely like started filtering my thoughts and my who I got opinions from. I said, okay, you know what? I trust basically the opinions of Oscar de la Hoya, the opinions of basically, Magic Johnson, the opinions of basically, Greg Garone, Kobe Bryant, I trust the opinions of the White House as the president of the United States president to the company. But so often I think we genuinely suck at basically, learning, and actually looking into the right places. So I didn't know about it. So it's something I had to actually be in there in person for me to actually understand. And honestly, like I said, it's life-changing. It's such an industry that you make genuinely impact. You're a modern day hero.
You have that feeling like you thought you knew you had a right answer to a question, and then you find out that it was the wrong answer to that question. It was the saying, if you knew that you're doing something right, but later found out it was wrong, when would you want to know? Right? And then more importantly, would you do something about it?
That's the key. That's the key.
So Marlene, you're saying about what was the thing that Latino culture, people don't buy life insurance because of
Sancho.
Sancho the milkman. That's what it is.
You know what's crazy? I feel like for the Latino culture specifically, and this goes for majority of America, we gotten used to, especially Latino culture, your mom tells you, your parents tell you, don't turn off the AC, live in the dark, we're trying to always save money. We spend so much energy finding creative ways to save money. I don't understand why we don't find creative ways to make more money. Like the reality is in America, we just gotten lazier because we were focused on this portion, but the reality is if you find creative ways to make more money, it takes work, but being rich is hard and being broke is hard. Which one do you want? Yep. So I agree with you, but yeah, Sancho is it's a real thing.
So how do you address that? So I don't want to buy life insurance because who's going to enjoy it? I'm not going to enjoy it. Sancho's going to enjoy it. How would you answer that question to a client?
Well, first of all, they're only thinking about one specific type of life insurance, and also it's talking about basically an irrational fear. So there's a different level type of answer. So number one is basically, do you want to live a life based on fear or faith? I think a lot of people hear something about an old neighbor of them that hid it from a cousin, heard it from somebody else. Oh, I had life insurance and it didn't pay out. Well, was it a term policy? Because they're supposed to basically expire after one point. I don't know. Okay, got it. So we need to ask questions. But then again, there's a different insurances where you can get all your money back at the end of the term. There's life insurance where they're, able to actually grow money with it. So it's understanding basically what's out there. But the reality is, like I said, it's if I buy milk from a bad store and it makes my stomach upset, does that mean I stop basically buying milk from every other store? It's just basically, do you want to live a life full of faith or fear? And I subscribe to not being basically, in my ideas, I didn't want to be basically living a life of fear because, like I said, life is too short for that.
Hey, David, so the audience, the audience wanted to ask some questions for you. We call these rapid fire questions with David Sica. Okay, so I'm going to just ask you questions and just a quick response. Okay, these are some of the questions sent in from the field that wanted to get to know you a little better. Okay, so ready, set, go. What's your favorite movie?
Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness. Favorite superhero?
Iron Man.
Iron Man. Favorite book?
Purpose Driven Life.
Favorite song?
Song, American Pie.
Okay, favorite food?
Empanadas, Argentinian.
Argentinian, yes. Okay, dream car?
Bentley Continental GT.
GT, nice.
Awesome. Ultimate goal in life.
Ultimate goal in life, to leave a legacy for the rest of basically of generations to come.
That's a deep question right there. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing with us. We feel like we got to know you a little bit better. So the empanadas, of course, you can't miss the yummy Argentinian wine, because that's what Argentina is known for, right? The meat and the wine.
Malbec, exactly.
I never knew that. Argentina is known for wine. Interesting.
Yeah, Malbec. Malbec, originates from Argentina.
Oh, okay. Hey, I learned something new today. That's awesome. By the way, Pursuit of Happiness. What a movie, huh? That movie impacted me a lot. With being a single dad. And by the way, one of the coolest side benefits of this business, as you were alluding to earlier, David and Marlene, think about all the people we've met through the business, all the people we've met as board councils. Marlene, we're going to be meeting with our carriers here in December. All the insurance companies we do business with at the carrier, because you're a board council. When you think about all the agents in the industry that don't even meet the senior VPs or the CEOs of the insurance company they do business with, how important is it for you, Marlene, to have that type of exposure to A-list celebrities, and at the same time C-suite executives of the insurance industry because of the platform of PHP?
Yeah, so the carrier meeting, we do this once a year where we get a chance to meet with all of our product providers, and we plan out the next year. We also go over our yearly numbers. And what blew me away, I think it was the last meeting we had, Matt, was that, for example, my organization, TGA, which is one of the organizations in PHP. So just one of the organizations in PHP was ranked, I think it was like 70 something in the industry. That means my organization was bigger than insurance companies that have been around for over 100 years. And what's exciting about that is to see the new faces, somebody like David and Elisa that are new to the industry, 25, 28 years old, to know that they're going to do what we did in a fraction of the time. Yeah. So to get invited to the carrier meeting, it's such an honor to get a chance to see the vision of where the company is going, and to know that we are the future of not just PHP, but of the entire industry, because the whole industry is counting on PHP to lead the way.
Yeah, 28 years old. You remember what you're doing? You're 28, Marlene. Remember, 28 years old, I found out I was having twins.
Wow.
Right? Wasn't married, wasn't doing it right, wasn't following God. Sorry, guys. For those of you think I walk on water, I don't. Please don't have that standard to me. Please forgive me.
Filipino Jesus, right?
Yeah. I actually did play Jesus in a church play. So we didn't realize Jesus was so tall, 60 or 60.
Sounds like I knew it.
Jesus, yeah. But 20 years I'm having twins. That was really the year I took the insurance industry seriously. I wasn't part of PHP, but I took the insurance industry seriously because I'm thinking to myself, most people are happy. Marley, remember you found out you're having Lukey and Preston and Elon, the joy you had.
My mind just went, I have a 5-week-old. I'm thinking, how did you handle twins that are newborns at 28 years old? Like, how did you even survive that phase? Because, they wake up every 2 hours. One, I can't even imagine 2. So I can't imagine what that phase of your life must have been like.
Oh, I just remember now. My first nanny, she was Argentinian. I just remember blonde hair, blue eyes.
I'm the darkest guy you're ever gonna see in Argentina. Everybody's like that.
I just remember that. So that was it, Marlene. My first nanny, she was Spanish speaking, just on top of everything. I think she was maybe about late 50s, early 60s, but just really helped me out with the twins. I remember always having to change both the diapers at the same time, even though one wasn't dirty. I'm like, I'm not doing it twice, man. I'm just changing both. The coolest thing, Marlene, was coming home and they're in their little walkers, and they come from all the different part of the apartment. They're just kind of running towards me to the door. I'm like, melting my heart. I'm like, oh man.
Oh, Matt, I think you're having some baby fever. I think we should tag Sheena on this little segment here.
The coolest thing about having kids now, and I'm sure, probably David, Elisa, have you guys had that conversation about kids yet?
We for sure had. Last year, Elisa got diagnosed with a brain tumor that is non-cancerous. It's not nothing like that. but it's still some complications. So we've been doing that for a little while now.
You know that.
But because of that, she's unable to have any children for the time being. So the current treatment, the current chemo treatments she's going through, it's we're hoping basically within a couple of years, and I obviously have all faith in God that he's going to be doing everything good. And then we just came from the doctor a few weeks ago, and she's making good progress. So, but until then, we're basically going to focus on building, and then make sure.
I didn't realize you're going through all that and you're crushing on the leaders bulletin.
Yeah, I mean, people have two options. You can basically say have your circumstances be as a reason why not to get ahead, as a reason why to get ahead. So. But it's great, honestly. Like I said, to be able to have a team like the one we have, Divine Purpose, the base shop, and the organization that we have basically a family here. And we just came back from a road trip to we had everybody fly down to Orange County this week. We took all the kids to Orange County to Disneyland, had a bunch of different people come in, but to be able to actually on Sunday we took them to the beach, to Corona del Mar. And then we actually baptized. Some of the kids were saying, hey, I want to actually get baptized, all on their choice. And wow. I remember basically just sitting there, and it gets me emotional because there was so much laughter that you hear from the kids. It was at 7 a.m, and then it was genuinely like a family. And I'm like, man, God, like, how good are you that you're able to actually, through like a platform like this, you're able to have basically people from all different backgrounds say, hey, we're going to come together and basically, I just live a life basically worth living. So yeah, it's been an incredible journey, but the support that they're giving us, like, it's unheard of. So it's phenomenal.
What by the way, one of my side jokes on Sundays when they baptize people at the pool at the church altar, one of my side jokes is you're not fully baptized unless you have a cup of water from the baptism pool.
One of our guys, we did a double dip. I did a double dip on them, so I was baptizing. I'm like, no, you need a little more. And then some people that
extra cleansing for you.
Some people were done rewarding people, but I'm like, no, it's listen.
That's it, man. So very, very cool, man. Marlene, I want to know, let's talk about recreating yourself, because I think obviously you've done that, Marlene. You and Jose have done that. Dave and Lisa, you recreated yourself. The book of the month. Where's the book of the book of the month? Is what got you here won't get you there. I'll get it here in a second. Great book, right? So Marlene, let's talk about that, because every level of income you've gotten, every promotion you've gotten, you're one of the board councils of the company, one of the millionaires, cash flow millionaires of the company. If somebody says right now, I'm in the middle of a great resignation, I don't want to take vaccine, I'm being forced to take a vaccine, I want to stand up for my own personal health reasons, I want to stand up for my own personal religious beliefs why I don't want to take the vaccine, and they're getting fired from their job, whatever the case may be, whatever circumstance that they're around, how do they start changing and recreating themselves?
I think that that most people, maybe the amateurs in business are going to wait till January 1st, right? But I think the professionals, the ones that have been doing it a little bit longer, or maybe the ones that just have a renewed hunger, I really want to do something with my life, they know that what you do right now is going to reflect come January 1st. So they want to get an early start. So I really have 3 steps for recreating yourself and just, just create that jump start. Okay. So number 1, the book Outwitting the Devil, it talks about habits. It's a great book. And it talks about how bad habits comes in 3. Most people don't have 1 bad habit. They have 3 bad habits. So for example, it's, I'm a smoker, I overeat, and I sleep in. It's not one thing that you have to tackle, but 3 things. So step number 1 to recreate yourself, this is my little formula, is pick an area of focus. Maybe it's, I want to get this promotion. Maybe it's, I want to lose 20 pounds. Maybe it's, I want to make $10,000 in a month. So pick an area of focus and pick 3 habits that you have to work on for that area of focus. And maybe I have to wake up early. I have to eat healthy so that I have the energy and the stamina. And I have to submerge myself in personal development so that I can control the thoughts in my head. So that would be step number 1, is picking an area of focus with 3 habits. Step number 2 is take massive action. So Tony Robbins says emotion is created by motion. And there are people that will read 1,000,001 books, but they never implement. They never take massive action. Yeah. Or the people that say, I want to run a marathon or I want to work out. You're never going to feel like it. You have to just do it. And then eventually the feeling will kick in. So for those of you that feel a little lethargic, or even this time of year, I feel a little depressed, start moving, start doing something. Something that I like to do with my organization is the Fitbit challenge. I want to just count how many steps you're taking, because I know that's going to create endorphins. And of course, just happier individuals, but take action in the goal that you're trying to achieve. So if, I want to make $10,000, well, then maybe your goal in taking action is, I'm going to make 100 sales calls. I'm going to actually prospect, because a lot of people don't like to put themselves out there, right? And step number 3 is pick a period of time. If you're new to setting goals, maybe it's a time frame. I'll tell you, one of the greatest things that ever happened to me as a child growing up Catholic was Lent. Because I remember as a kid, we had to give something up for 40 days and 40 nights. And it taught me delayed gratification,
Right.
but it taught me you wait, right? So for most people, we know it's 21 days to create a new habit. Maybe it's 30 days, maybe it's 90 days, but pick a time frame, because when people don't, and they think I have to do this for the rest of my life, they mentally check out. But if we say for the next 30 days, the next 21 days, I'm going to do this, it's an achievable short-term goal that can lead to long-term permanent habits. So those are my 3 quick steps to reinventing yourself this time of year.
I love it. Guys, I hope you guys took away. For those of you who are watching this right now, Elisa Sica, she's watching right now. Elisa, good to see you. Alyssa, Marquita, Maggie, Leonardo, Michael Cohen, Miriam Rivera, what SRT doll, Stephanie, Shatan Collins. What's your biggest takeaway from Marlene's points? What's your biggest takeaway? What would you add? By the way, David, what would you add to that? How did you recreate yourself? How did you and Alyssa start recreating yourselves? You're 6-figure earners in a company. You guys are in your 20s. How do you start recreating yourself coming from a different industry? What would you add to that?
Honestly, it's going to sound silly, but the reality is that have being honest with yourself. I think the reality is that majority of us, you got to be able to, obviously, an identity is really knowing who you are. And that's where your confidence comes from. If you know basically exactly who you are, then that's the sexiest, for all the men out there, the sexiest thing you can be doing on somebody is like really like knowing yourself, being confident and comfortable with yourself. So many people are so focused on trying to be like everybody else. But having an honest conversation. So I talked to the team the other day with this, and if you have if you have basically an identity, you don't steal, and you steal, you have an option to say, hey, you know what are you going to do with the action? Now your behavior disaligns with what your belief of yourself is. So you have 2 options. You can use a defense mechanism called justifying or rationalizing it. So you could justify, I stole because I need to feed my family. Great. So now it's okay for you to steal as long as you feed your family. But the reality is, if you want to have an honest conversation, is that your behavior disaligns with what your belief is. So if you basically, the ego is designed to protect yourself, to avoid depression. So the reality is that physically, if you actually are honest with yourself, you're like, you know what? No, I messed up. I did something wrong. So you need to actually accept it and fix this problem. The problem is majority of people in today's world, they're not okay with basically, working on their stuff. For me, it was basically building a strong relationship with God. And I really had to actually genuinely say what it was like to actually have a relationship with God. Alyssa and I basically get God at the center of our relationship, our business. And basically at every level, you got to be able to be aware of basically not getting too cocky, taking pride. Pride is going to be one of the biggest factors that people basically get stopped at, because pride divides. I give glory to God every step of the way. Everything that we have to this day is all because of God. So build a strong relationship with God. Obviously, get clarity on your purpose. A lot of people basically, Andrew Gaines once said, people don't have a lack of motivation. People have a lack of clarity. So if you don't know what you want for your life, there's never going to be any urgency to push you off the couch, get you off your bed to actually go afterwards, because any distraction gets in the way of you. So you always basically, you get stamina, you get excitement because you watch a motivational video on YouTube for 2 days and you're like, and then you're back to the same place. You got to tap on the source. If you're so clear and obsessed and emotional about what your goals and dreams are, then that clarity for your purpose is what you need. And last but not least, you got to be able to actually, prune the wrong people in your life. You got to be able to prune the wrong environments. God cannot bless you with the different blessings if you have the wrong people in your circle holding you back. And that could be parents, that could be, partners, that could be, friends, right? There's anchors, there's relationships that are anchors in your life that are robbing you from all your dreams and goals. But guess what? it takes an honest conversation and a lot of strength for you to be able to actually let go of that so you can experience what God has for you. So identity wise, those are the 3 steps that I would say.
That's
Thank you.
amazing. Guys, Marlene, go ahead.
Yeah, Matt, so I want to know, how do you reinvent yourself? Either you personally or somebody that you coach, how do you help them reinvent themselves?
Yeah, the steps that you both put together, amazing. By the way, Sica, your step there about being transparent, being honest with yourself. There's a lot of sadly, there's some addicts in my family, and I remember going through some AA meetings with them, and I remember that first step is admitting that you're powerless over this substance, and that you know, by the way, the 12 steps come from a Christian principle, you know. So you know, you're sometimes people are addicted to being broke,
Yeah,
or addicted to failure. Like sometimes you program yourself. Well, how many times have you ever said this? Like when there's a raffle, how many times have you said this in a raffle? Well, I never win anyway. So why even participate? I never win anyway. Well, that attitude parlays into a lot of things in your life. Just the cool thing about business and entrepreneurship and in the insurance industry, this ain't a raffle. This is not, I hope I win. I hope they select me. No, that's not the way capitalism works, PHP works, insurance. That's not the way we work. If you follow the blueprint, okay, and you follow how we sell life insurance, and these right here has made David and Alyssa Sica 6 figures. This right here, and by the way, one of the authors of this manual about how to sell life insurance is right here on this podcast right now. Marlene Gaytan. Marlene, remember were we board councils at the time we were there, or were we chairman's council?
Oh, we weren't. Not yet.
we were still broke chairman's councils making $500,000 a year, $750 a year. That's funny. I don't think we were board councils yet.
No.
But the brokest person, the brokest chairman's council that helped create this manual on how to sell life insurance, because all of our chairman's council, not board councils, because I don't think board councils were created yet. All the chairman's councils that had their input on how to sell life insurance is right here. And the brokest one was making $535 a year. Top 1% of income in America. All through learning how to sell life insurance. And guys, what a manual this is. I don't know if you guys can see this. I mean, we put this manual together. Unbelievable. I remember that college professor right next to us. So to answer your question, Marlene, number one, assess what you have. Do you like where you're at? Do you not like where you're at? Are you broke? Are you broke? Do you want to be broke for the rest of life? No. Assess where you're at. And then the only thing I would add on top of what your points are is making sure that you do something, not 3 times in a row, 5 times in a row. I like the power of 5. Why? Because when you're done with that, high five somebody. Do something 5 times in a row. Work out 5 times in a row without skipping something due to, I don't feel like it, but do it 5 times in a row. Why? Because in this 5 times of you doing this, you start building a habit. It's a small victory. It's a little bit of a challenging victory, but it's a small victory. You do something 5 times in a row. For example, here in Dallas, when we restarted our office, I challenged myself, can I bring a new guest to the BOM 5 BOMs in a row? 5 BOMs. Can I make sure that I'm in the meeting with 5 directs to me in every meeting? When I come to any qualifiers event, can I have 5 directs to me? Those are small things to recreate myself. But for me, I just call it corny. It may sound. I just call it power of 5. That's how it acts. Yeah. Here's something on my mind. Here's something on my mind. And by the way, if you guys got questions, I know there's been a bunch of questions here in the chat box. What are some of the things? What are some of the things that you guys have experienced here with PHP as we're preparing? Because right now we're preparing for 2022, right? And I want to add too, David and Alyssa, maybe you guys are going through a situation. How would you value the platform of PHP Agency? Because right now, everybody in the insurance industry wants your name because you're on a database. You're on the state insurance producers list database. Insurance companies buy lists. Insurance companies, marketing organizations try to recruit you away from PHP Agency to go somewhere else. You're making 6 figures. You're proven. You can do this. You can recruit. You can convert people from new licensed agents to actually insurance agents. You're a highly valuable asset to know how to do that. Do you know why? Because the insurance industry hasn't been able to do that the last 50, 60 years. You're doing it. You're a new face of this industry. What keeps you here at PHP Agency?
Well, hands down. Well, so many things, but the reality is, one, Pat, there's no leadership like Pat. The reality is, like, I genuinely believe that Pat, that man has been anointed in ways I don't even know, but I genuinely believe that, like I said, it's when we went to Florida for Pat's birthday, and then we saw basically all the VPs and up and all the leaders in there, and you're rubbing shoulders, with Robert Kiyosaki, Mr. Phil, Santana Olympia, and all these different, people, you get to realize that the way that we are organically, being able to actually build people in here. Again, I'm talking about the growth. That growth happens because of the culture, and there's no culture anywhere else like PHP. It's just not even close. So you're able to see basically the values that our company has because of our leadership, because of Patrick and what Patrick has done. And I love the fact that basically Pat is never actually content, where majority of people are just basically content where they're at. Pat continues to level up every single way, for us, for the sake of us, continue to, he raises the lid every single time. So what has kept me here? The reality is, like I said, there's no other culture that builds basically the leaders that we have. And when other people basically, the companies, they see that, they see basically how valuable PHP is. Like, you gotta understand, like, we went from basically being on the street, barely having any money, to eat, I'm shaking the president's hand. Like, that only happens through PHP. What other platform is going to give you the ability to go out there and meet the United States president? What other, it's unheard of. So as far as basically the culture, like I said, it gives you the freedom to become whoever you want to be in this planet. And that's basically what we've been able to actually build. But honestly, Patrick gets me here. The culture gets me here. God gets me here. My silence, like, you guys get me here. Like I said, we're about to basically, it is not life insurance. It's like, it's just the amount of leaders that we're gonna have. Like, I genuinely, we're gonna have our PHP, bestsellers, PHP bestseller books, right? We're gonna be able to build such a culture that basically our people are just, creating the next layer of leaders. And what I'm most excited about is your kids, your guys' kids. They realize that we have to deal with all the, crap we dealt from our life. We're trying to figure that piece out.
We need girls. By the way, we need girls, man. We got a bunch of boys in PHP.
I have 3 boys. Yes, we have a lot of boys.
I don't know. I thought we couldn't control that, but if we find a way, we'll.
It's the socks. That's another conversation. It's the socks.
Anyway,
it's another conversation.
Okay. If you can post a link on that.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, I wanted to share this really cool comment. So Carlos Jimenez on the chat wrote, me and David used to buy $1.99 chicken sandwiches in high school, and now we're balling. So how cool to have your high school friend put that in the chat, right? That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Wow.
I remember.
I'm thinking about, the platform PHP, because I know people, I get asked all the time, how come you just didn't create your own insurance company? Because I was before PHP, I was doing this for 12, 13 years as a producer, another 4 years as a wannabe builder. And the biggest challenge I had was recruiting people, but not having a system to retain people. And Marlene, I was having a conversation with somebody in Vacaville, is that right? Vacaville, California. Is it Vacaville? Vacaville, Vacaville. Anyway, it's up there in Northern California. And I want to build an agency of 100 insurance agents. And she goes, but I only want quality. I said, well, listen, this is an independent contractor world. Unless you're paying people salary, which the insurance industry, very, very rarely will you come across insurance companies that are willing to pay you salary and benefits. And if they do, the commission and the benefits are going to be very, very small and very de minimis, right? You're better off building your own book of business. And I share this with veterans. A lot of veterans think that getting out the military, they think, hey, I am just going to be a cop. I'm going to be a firefighter. I'm going to be a contractor. I'm going to be a security force, or in a security company, right? I got to put my secret clearance, my classified clearance at use still. And by the way, I had all those. I was a door gunner in a special operations capable unit, a 15 Marine Expeditionary Unit. We assaulted the two operations, Operation Desert Storm, Operation Restore Hope. I was an instructor for 3 years. And here are some lessons I learned in the military. And it's not going to be your basic, discipline, teamwork, work hard. I've got 5 points. I'm going to share 3. because this video is going to be released tomorrow on my 7 Fear Squad YouTube channel. But here's 3 of the 5 lessons I learned in the Marine Corps that easily translated into the insurance industry that allowed my wife and I, Sheena, to be cash flow millionaires. Number 1, we learned how to work for nothing. You got to understand the military pay scale, it is less than poverty. I was getting paid $20,000 a year as a sergeant in the Marines in Southern California. I'm in Irvine, California. Marlene, you're in Irvine, Santa Ana, California, right?
Yes, and OC is expensive.
David?
I'm in Irvine right now.
Yeah, you're in Irvine right now. I was there when the Irvine Spectrum was being built out. I'm just dating myself, bro. I'm just dating myself. Every time I drove by the 405, drove by the 5 on the drive by Irvine Spectrum, I just felt my wallet having a magnetic pull out of my pocket and leaving for the Irvine Spectrum. I was so broke. My weekend was going to Balboa Island, not going on any of the rides, but just enjoying the Balboa, right? And just buying a couple corny dogs. Marlene, what's that? The corn dog thing with the water, the lemonade? What do you call that little store?
Oh, the colorful with the colors.
Corn dog on a stick or something like that?
Yeah, corn dog on a stick. There you go.
Corn dog on a stick. Okay.
On the mall. Yes.
That was my steak meal. That's how much my budget was. To me, that was everything. Let me get that and a pink lemonade. Okay. But we learned how to work for nothing. Why? Because our vision of what we're doing was more important than the salary that we're making. We're fighting for our fellow brothers and sisters. We had, Marlene, we've been talking about it a couple of times. She dropped it a couple of times in this podcast. Delayed gratification. We knew that if we do this, we'll enjoy our time off, whether that's tomorrow, later on this afternoon. We just want to go home and crack open some beers, but we need to get the job done first. And we appreciated the small things. We remember just appreciating having a warm meal. You know, just find me a dry spot. Everything's raining outside. Just find me somewhere where it's dry. I'm happy. I'm happy when it's just, I'm covered and it's dry. So military service members, we learn how to work for nothing. And that is a value and a principle that you can translate into the insurance and into business. Number 2 is being able to handle stress. You were dealing with stress, 4 or 5 different jobs, 4 or 5 different bosses at you. So being able to handle stress, easily translatable into the insurance industry. The worst thing we deal with, come on, it's not bad guys, bullets, and bombs. What we deal with, chargeback. People quitting on you, just not coming to the office. Or what you deal with, somebody said no to me. Hey, vets, hey, Marines, veterans, that's nothing compared to what you did in combat. There's nothing. You just deal with, oh my gosh, I got a paper cut. What? And by the way, it's not even paper cut. My internet went down. And last but not least, third one, you learn how to stick things out. You want to have a habit from the military translated to become a millionaire in the insurance industry. Take that habit of you sticking it out. You sticking it out and you sticking out. Okay? You sticking it out and you sticking out. How did you stick out? Hey, I want to get meritoriously promoted. Hey, I think I deserve that reward and recognition. I'm going to go above and beyond. Everybody does this. There's already a high standard, but I'm going to do this because I want to stick up and stick out. If you want to speak out and call out, listen, the life insurance industry would love you. The insurance industry needs to be called out. We love, hey, Sica, do we love competitors here?
I pray for them every day. I'm like, Lord, give me competitors. It's such a beautiful distraction between all the enemies, attacks. But yes, we love them. We love them, man.
Marlene, does TGA love competitors in TGA?
Not only do we attract them, but we breed them. There are so many people that we attract that have no idea they're competitive. They never played sports. They were never given a platform. They've never had a coach, but you put them in this environment for the first time. It's like they awaken and they say, oh my gosh, I didn't know I could be this person.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, listen, the insurance industry and PHP, we love competitors. So if you learn how to stick it out and stick out amongst everybody in uniform, you stuck out, the insurance industry, PHP Agency would love to have you consider. And this is an industry that's going to pay you what you're fighting for. You get paid $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 a year, put your life on the line. And what do you get paid? Nothing. I remember, Marlene, asking for hazardous duty pay just so I can make another $100 extra. In other words, I had to take a job that put my life on the line, so they pay me another $100 extra a month. So vets, Marines, Marine Corps birthday today, and veterans for tomorrow. if you want an industry that's going to reward you for those three principles that you know you already had in the military, consider sending us a message here at PHP Agency. We'll connect you with Marlene in Santa Ana, David in Irvine, our friends Rodolfo and Ceci Vargas, part of the Field Advisory Board in Houston, Texas, myself in Dallas. We have offices in LA, Chicago, Florida, all over the country. We can deploy you. You can be local, you can be regional, you can be national. And so these are things that you need to consider, because there's more to life than simply being a cop, firefighter, postal worker, contractor. I know that's what they feed us down our throats. I never thought in a million years I'd be in the insurance industry. Sica, did you ever thought you'd be in the insurance industry? Because you said a blessings comes after the obedience, right?
Yes, sir. No, not in a million years, Matt, but I'm so grateful that God actually had different plans for me.
That's right. To make sure that people other than Sancho gets the money from.
That's right.
Gotcha. So Marlene, I'm curious, you know, when we're planning for November and the initiatives we got going on, what are you excited about the initiatives that Patrick announced at the beginning of the month to have this being the sickest November to remember we've ever had as a company?
You know, we always say this, and that we have a saying in the field, how does Patrick, our CEO, always outdo him? Like, how do you top, you know, the last big event, the last speaker, the last contest, the last trip, but I think God blessed Patrick amongst his many gifts with creativity, because he always finds a way to surprise us and to shock us. So the company initiatives this month are just incredible. From the giveaways, you get a chance to win a car. Okay, now being a recipient of a PHP car, let me just tell you, it feels incredible when you win a car here at PHP. So what a blessing for the family that gets to win this car, right? You have a Chanel purse. Now, let me tell you, I'm a big fan of Chanel, okay? This purse is like $10,000, by the way. So it's not like it's a, you know, it's a huge deal, by the way, and they retain value. So make sure you get that purse insured if you actually do win that purse, right? But just the giveaways that we're having, the promotions, the way this company cares and gives back to its field, I just don't, I've never seen anything like it. So, you know, for the agents here in PHP, make sure that you take advantage of the company initiatives, that you qualify for the company initiatives, and that we show our gratitude by just, you know, crushing it this November.
You know, the reports came out in Illinois that more people in Illinois, where I'm formerly from, I was there for 38 years, more people in Illinois left their jobs than any other state.
Wow, really?
Yeah, Illinois. And also,
why do you think that is?
Well, because of the mandates. People are, you know, traffic is a big reason in Chicago. Not getting paid enough in Chicago. The Chicago Tribune reported 3 years ago that half of people living in Chicago can't afford to live there. So many people are looking for the suburbs. Many people are. I met a guy yesterday that says, "Hey Matt, you can rent my car when you're in town through this app called Two-Row. When you're in town, instead of going to Enterprise, you can rent my Porsche." And he works in Illinois, but lives in Indiana. So he's like right across, like people in San Diego, they might live in Tijuana.
Yeah.
They work in San Diego.
They commute, yeah.
They commute back and forth. Same thing's happening with Illinois and Indiana. So you know, same thing with the border between Illinois and Wisconsin, the northern border, or the western border between Illinois and Iowa. Right? So a lot of those things are happening. How is it there in California? Tell me about California, because we were looking to plan an event there because I had intention of attending the Super Bowl this year, but I said, based on a disclaimer, they were requiring a vaccine passport.
Yes, especially in LA County, you know, to go to restaurants, to go get your nails done, to go anywhere. I live in Orange County, so it's a little more lenient here. But yeah, we just went to a concert, and you got to have, you know, either the vaccine or the negative test. And again, you know, we're talking about the people that don't want to get the vaccine, but they got to keep retesting for the COVID tests. You know, I hope they find less invasive ways, because I can't stick that thing up my nose one more time for another test. Right? I don't know about you guys, but I'm so over it.
No, I feel violated every time, and I start crying too. I'm like, come on, David, don't do it in front of us.
They're like dig deep in there, man. They put that swab, and they're like digging deep in your thoughts before we find out the test results. Yeah, I hope so too. And Here's the coolest part. For those of you watching this right now, or for those of you just new to PHP Agency, you're checking out PHP, or you're currently with PHP, let me share this with you. Last year, PHP Agency, through the pandemic, we grew by 45%. During the midst of the pandemic, the lockdowns, not even the mandates, the lockdowns, the shutdowns, we grew last year by 45%. And just so you know, we've been tracking this year. Marlene, how did you feel knowing that Patrick had us on a certain amount of pressure last month to make sure that a certain bonus wasn't taken away from us if we grew a certain amount of percentage as a company?
I think it's our responsibility to the field to keep growing so that new people can have the same opportunities that we've had, but yet even better, because PHP just keeps growing and keeps improving and everything keeps getting better. So the next generation will definitely benefit from that growth.
You know, a lot of people say, I grew by 45% too. Yeah, but you grew from 100,000 to 140,000. You know, when we're talking about millions, growing 40%, that's a bigger number than growing from the hundreds of thousands or even just seven figures. We're talking about an 8-9 figure company. In terms of having a 40% growth, that's a significant amount, especially during lockdowns and shutdowns, especially in a company where we're not buying leads, right? And a lot of companies will do that. Listen, you're making cold calls in with the people that don't want you here. Number two, they don't want you there because of the potential COVID-19. So number one, is uncomfortable for strangers to be in your house. Number two, for strangers to be in your house, potentially spreading a disease. So these are things that people are worried about. Right now, we can do Zoom, we can do in person. And by the way, Marlene, what's your preference, in person or Zoom? I think I know the answer. I
always say I think the introverts love Zoom. They're thriving. The extroverts, they need that environment. I really enjoy both, but for me, being a people person, I prefer in person much more. I want to be able to connect with the newest person, and although we can do it through camera, there's nothing like being able to just see them, touch them, and feel their pulse, right? So as a coach, that's more enjoyable for me.
Yeah, and we have options. We have people that do both. Sica, I mean, a majority of your business is even right now still through Zoom. Am I correct in saying that? 100%
of it, yeah.
So right here, if you're watching this podcast right now, can I do both? We have two glaring examples right here. If you want to know my example, majority of us, 80% of us are in person. The only reason why 20% of us are on Zoom is because they're outsourced to other offices that are still only in person. But our new office here in the Dallas operation, we are in person. And I was at the mall yesterday because I was picking up my watch. I was at the mall yesterday. They got signs all over the place. Mask requirements, mask requirements, mask requirement. Guess what, Texas? Nobody had a mask on. and nobody was enforcing it. Next time I'll go there, I'll do a IG video, IG story. So, David, I appreciate you being on this podcast. Any final thoughts, man, before we let you go? Your pleasure being out. It was a pleasure having you on this podcast. We learned a lot from you. Any final thoughts from you?
No, honestly, it's just for anybody who's watching. Like I said, it's for people basically within our company. Like I said, you ask God for a blessing, an opportunity. This is month, the month of things that we have going on. It's 100% on you. Like I said, you're one decision away to actually receiving that abundance. So like I said, people that are in the company, make sure you take advantage. People that are not in the company, like I said, they consider maybe all to jump into this industry. Like I said, it changed my life. During the pandemic, we made multiple six figures. And like I said, it's if you want to find basically a culture that is family-like, a culture that basically you're genuinely going to find an identity. It's impossible not to grow inside of this platform. But like I said, for us, like I said, it's been a pleasure, being able to run alongside of you guys. Like I said, we're a byproduct of basically all of the example that you guys have been setting. So listen, I'm forever grateful for you, Pat, Tegan, and Moral, everybody else that's behind the scenes. And like I said, all glory goes to God for on our end for all the success. But the reality is, like I said, we're going to do amazing things with our company. I'm so excited what the future holds. And like our PCO says, the future looks bright.
Marlene, your final thoughts.
Matt, wanted to just say I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for all the Marines we have here in PHP and outside of PHP. And if you're watching this, take advantage of today, make this today, and just take this as a sign to share this video with a Marine that you may know. Say, hey, happy Veterans Day, right? Thank you for your service, and maybe share this because we do attract a lot of military people. I think they excel. So you might just attract the next Matt Sapaula here to PHP.
And for those of you watching this, making sure you follow David Sica on Instagram. We've been sharing his Instagram throughout the entire show. Make sure also you follow Marlene Gaytan also on Instagram. We've been sharing her story here on this podcast. And as I wrap up the show today, I just want you to know that for the veterans out there, for the military service members, for my Marines, you fought for freedom. It's time for you to enjoy the freedom that you fought to preserve and to protect. Regardless of what's going on in the politics, regardless of what's going on with the right, the left, listen, regardless of what's going on in the White House, the most important thing is what goes on in your house. What's going on in your financial house? Are you happy? Are you excited about it? Are you sad? Are you depressed about it? I totally get it. I understand. I was there too as well. I know how that feels. But I love knowing that there's a platform in an industry, and more specifically a company and a mentorship group that you can plug into, compete with. So therefore, the big monsters, whether it be a financial monster, a PTSD monster, whatever you got going on in your rear view mirror, if you say, listen, let me be real with myself. Let me choose an industry that is most likely to make me a millionaire. By the way, that's number one on the list. The industry most likely to make a millionaire is the insurance industry. In fact, the industry most likely to make you a billionaire is also the financial services and insurance industry. Go pick up a recent copy of Forbes 400, the wealthiest people in the United States of America. Google industry most likely to make a millionaire. It's not our post that you can find. You can find some third-party posts out there that reveal what that industry is. All I'm saying is that I didn't have a college degree. Marlene didn't have a college degree. David's got a college degree, but he's not using his college degree in this context, right? And he's very proud of his soon-to-be MBA, his massive bank account. And we want you to have a MBA too. If you have a PhD like me, like a public high school diploma, there's a space for you here at PHP Agency. If you got a chip on your shoulder, you got a point to prove, there's a space for you here at PHP Agency. You want to go right, you want to find an industry that's very noble and serves and helps people, there's a place for you here at PHP Agency. If there's a problem that you want to solve, this whole income gap, this whole income inequality, and you want to be an answer to that problem, there's a spot for you here at PHP Agency. If you want to go out and live your goals and your dreams and get a house like Jose and Marlene have, by the way, I encourage you to follow them. Check out the house they live in. Check out the cars that they drive. Check out the lifestyle that David and Lisa Sica are living across the United States of America. Look at the things that my wife and I are experiencing all across the world. The mentorship that we have with our CEO, Patrick Bet-David here, and Jennifer Bet-David here at PHP. Check it out. Listen, we're not just telling you, we want to show you and get to know us. You'll hear a lot of things what people say. You'll hear a lot of things on the internet. And by the way, the biggest voices online are the quitters. The biggest voices online, sadly, are the people that have all day long just to sit there and just troll, whatever they're not focused on their own goals and dreams, because the people that focus on their goals and dreams, you'll find them with their heads down, focused in, making their dreams happen and getting the work done, get the job done. And that's you. You want to go out there and find an industry most likely making a millionaire to change your life? Absolutely. Turn it 180 degrees. You found the right podcast, you found the right associations, and you found the right company. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you like this video. Make sure you drop your biggest takeaway in the comment section below. Matter of fact, next time we do the next podcast, we're going to read some of your comments, the greatest takeaways that you've had in the next podcast. So please drop your biggest takeaway in the comments section below. We'll read the best ones for PHP Podcast for next week's episode. That being said, guys, on behalf of David Sica from Irvine, California, on behalf of fellow first-generation cash flow, first-generation millionaire Marlene Gaytan in Santana, California, myself here from Dallas, Texas. I'm a money smart guy. And until we meet again, continue to help people, continue to love people, and continue to change your lives today. God bless you guys. Bye-bye, bye-bye. Happy Marine Corps birthday. Ayy!